All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning, I'm Sunil Verma and with me is Subhadra Ramachandran. The headlines. Centre asks states and union territories to allow smartphones and tablet devices for hospitalized COVID-19 patients. DCGI gives permission to Serum Institute of India to conduct Phase 2 and 3 human clinical trial of coronavirus vaccine developed by Oxford University. Raksha Bandhan being celebrated across the country today. Local Rakhis completely replaced Chinese Rakhis this year. Monsoon to get active over parts of central and western India from tomorrow. IPL 2020 to be played from September 19th to November 10th this year. And BCCI issues SOPs for resuming domestic cricket activities. The central government has written to all states and union territories asking that smartphones and tablet devices should be allowed for hospitalized COVID-19 patients so that they can interact with family and friends through video conferencing. It will provide them psychological support. Though mobile phones are allowed in hospital wards, the letter was issued following some representation from the kin of patients alleging that mobile phones are not being allowed by the hospital administrations. In a letter to the Principal Secretaries of Health and Medical Education of states and union territories, Director General of Health Services in the Health Ministry, Dr. Rajiv Garg said, appropriate protocols for disinfecting devices and allotting time slots can be developed by the concerned hospital to facilitate contact between patients and their families. The Health Ministry has issued fresh guidelines for international passengers arriving in India, which will be operational from 8th of August. The guidelines state that before planning for travel, all travellers should submit self-declaration form on online portal newdelhiairport.in at least 72 hours before the scheduled travel. They should also give an undertaking on the portal that they would undergo mandatory quarantine for 14 days. This includes 7 days paid institutional quarantine at their own cost, followed by 7 days isolation at home, while self-monitoring of health. Home quarantine may be permitted for 14 days only for compelling reasons such as pregnancy, death in the family, or serious illness. Travellers may also seek exemption from institutional quarantine by submitting a negative RT-PCR test report upon arrival. This test should have been conducted within 96 hours prior to undertaking the journey. Before boarding, do's and don'ts will be provided along with tickets to the travellers by the concerned agencies. States can develop their own protocol with regards to quarantine and isolation as per their assessment post-arrival of passengers in the states.
A record 51,255 recoveries have been registered in the country in the last 24 hours. This is the highest number of recoveries in a single day since the outbreak of the pandemic in the country. With this, the recovery rate has improved to 65.43%. The case fatality rate has further declined to 2.13%. Health and Family Welfare Ministry said a total of 11,45,629 people have recovered from COVID-19 in the country so far. 54,735 new cases of coronavirus have been reported in the last 24 hours, taking the total number of cases to 17,50,723. Presently, the total number of active corona cases in the country is 5,67,730. In a single day, 853 deaths have also been reported, taking the nationwide toll to 37,364. Drugs Controller General of India DCGI has given nod to the Serum Institute of India SII to conduct Phase 2 and 3 human clinical trials of COVID-19 vaccine developed by Oxford University. The approval for conducting Phase 2 and 3 clinical trials by the SII was granted by DCGI Dr. V.G. Somani late last night after a thorough evaluation based on the recommendations of the Subject Expert Committee on COVID-19. The expert panel of the Central Drug Standard Control Organization, CDSCO, had on Friday recommended granting permission for Phase 2 and 3 clinical trials of the vaccine Covishield on healthy adults in India. The firm has to submit safety data evaluated by the Data Safety Monitoring Board, DSMB, to the CDSCO before proceeding to Phase 3 clinical trials. Currently, Phase 2 and 3 clinical trials of the Oxford vaccine is going on in the United Kingdom, Phase 3 clinical trial in Brazil, and Phase 1 and 2 clinical trials in South Africa.
In Gujarat, 805 COVID-19 patients have been discharged from various hospitals after recovery during the past 24 hours, as the recovery rate has further improved to 73.16%. A total 46,587 patients have recovered in the state till date. More from our correspondent.
According to the State Health Department, 1,101 new cases have been reported in the state yesterday. Maximum 209 new cases reported from Surat, while Ahmedabad recorded 143 new cases. Total cases in the state have gone up to 63,675. Out of 14,601 active cases in the state, the conditions of 81 patients are serious and they are on ventilator support. 22 patients have lost their lives yesterday, taking the total death due to COVID-19 in the state up to 2,487. More than 8,14,000 tests have been carried out in the state till date, out of which 23,255 tests have been carried out during the last 24 hours. Yogesh Pandya, Air News, Ahmedabad.
In Maharashtra, 9,926 COVID-19 patients were discharged yesterday after recovering from the disease. With this, the count of the recovered cases in the state now stands at 2,76,809, with a recovery rate of 62.74%. But 9,509 new cases were added yesterday. 260 people succumbed to the infection during the day. The state is facing the challenge of controlling the pandemic in rural areas, and it might become more difficult as people from Konkan region have started their journey from various cities to attend the upcoming Ganesh festival. More from our correspondent.
In Maharashtra, people from Konkan region who have settled in various cities are travelling to their native places to attend the upcoming Ganesh festival in this month. The district administrations of 3 districts in Konkan region has the challenging task to control the COVID-19 pandemic, as the travellers from various cities are entering Raigad, Ratnagiri and Sindhudurga districts. Earlier, strict checking procedure was being implemented on checkposts at the entry points of the districts, but the procedure had to be stopped due to the long queues of vehicles and traffic jams on the roads in these districts. This has added to the worries of the district administration, as no health checking is possible due to the long queues of the vehicles on the roads. Face shields and masks were distributed on the checkposts in Ratnagiri district. Shailesh Patil, AR News, Mumbai.
Karnataka Chief Minister B.S. Yediyurappa has tested positive for COVID-19 and has been admitted to Manipal Hospital on the advice of doctors as a precautionary measure. Sources in the Chief Minister's office said that the 77-year-old leader's results came positive as part of the once in 7 days test conducted by the Health Department. Yediyurappa had requested those who have come in contact with him recently to be observant and exercise self-quarantine. More from our correspondent.
Medical Education Minister Dr. K. Sudhakar also in home quarantine after his family members and the staffs were tested positive recently. The COVID surge in the state continues with 5,532 new COVID-19 positive cases reported yesterday, taking the total to 1,34,819. 84 COVID patients succumbed to the disease and the total death has gone up to 2,496. 74,590 active cases are taking treatment in various hospitals. Among them, 638 are in ICU. The recovery rate has improved with 4,077 people cured and discharged from various hospitals in the state yesterday. The state recovery rate is 42.82%. R. Murthy, AR News, Bengaluru.
In our series Experts Speak on All India Radio, we bring you the views of the leading medical experts on COVID-19. Talking to AIR News, Dr. Amarchand Bajaj, Senior Consultant at the Sitaram Bhartiya Institute of Science and Research in New Delhi, highlighted the importance of hygiene and how to maintain it to contain the novel coronavirus.
जब तक हमारे पास इनकी ट्रीटमेंट वैक्सीन या मेडिसिन के रूप में ना निकले, तब तक हमें जो प्रिकॉशनरी मेजर्स है वो फॉलो करने हैं. जहाँ जरूरत ना हो उसमें घर से बिल्कुल बाहर ना निकले, कोशिश करें कम से कम बाहर निकलना है. और जबकि निकलना भी पड़ा घर से बाहर तो कोशिश करें कि जहाँ आप 2 लोग खड़े हैं, करीब 2 मीटर दूर खड़े रहें, नहीं तो कम से कम 1 मीटर दूर खड़े रहें.
In Uttar Pradesh, all eyes are on Ayodhya, where preparations are in full swing for the Bhoomi Pujan for construction of Ram Temple. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will take part in the Bhoomi Pujan on Wednesday. Meanwhile, pious soil and water from all the major religious sites, places of national importance and sacred rivers of the nation are reaching Ayodhya. A report.
Thousands of urns from all over the country are reaching Ayodhya for Bhoomi Pujan. They contain water and soil from all sacred places, including temples and birthplace of national heroes. Shri Ram Janmabhoomi Tirth Kshetra Trust informed that water and soil from Shri Badrinath Dham, Raigarh Fort, Shri Ranganath Swami Mandir, Shri Mahakaleshwar Mandir, and birthplace of Shri Chandrasekhar Azad and Shri Birsa Munda, and many other places of religious and national importance have already reached Ayodhya Dham for Pujan. Sacred soil from Haldigati and forts of Rani Lakshmibai, Shivaji and Durga Devi, and water from Mansarovar, Ganga Sagar and other oceans have also reached Ayodhya. This soil and water will be used during Bhoomi Pujan and construction of Ram Temple. Sushil Chandra Tiwari, AIR News, Lucknow.
The proposed Ram Temple in Ayodhya will be a very strong structure which can withstand an earthquake also. Speaking to AIR, the architect of Ram Temple, Ashish Sampurna, said that steel will not be used in construction and only copper will be used. Coming from a family who designed the famous Somnath Temple in Gujarat, Ashish said his father took the measurements by using his own footsteps to make the Ram Temple model, and the present model has only few changes because now we have ample space for construction.
ग्राउंड फ्लोर पे रामलला की मूर्ति विराजमान होगी और फर्स्ट फ्लोर के ऊपर राम दरबार की मूर्तियां होंगी। सेकंड फ्लोर पे 135 के जितने हैं और सेकंड फ्लोर भी हमको ऐड करना पड़ा, जैसे कि ये विड्थ बढ़ी उसकी तो सामने प्रोपोर्शनेटली हाइट बढ़ानी भी होती है, तो एक फ्लोर और बढ़ा दिया हमने ऊपर। अभी ये मंदिर को करीबन कंप्लीट होने में 3 से 3.5 साल लग जाएंगे। अभी जो पूरा कंसंट्रेशन है वो सिर्फ मंदिर पे ही है। एक बार पहले रामलला का मंदिर तैयार हो जाए, बाकी 67 एकड़ में जो भी तैयारियां
In the run-up to the 74th Independence Day, we bring you a special story about government's initiatives for the welfare of the farmers and agriculture field. Agriculture and farmers are in focus of Narendra Modi government since it took over in 2014. In the last 6 years, the government has taken many steps for empowerment of farmers and development of agriculture in the country. Speaking to AIR News, Minister of State for Agriculture, Kailash Chaudhary, said the government aims to double the income of farmers by 2022. He said the initiatives like PM Kisan, ENAM are benefiting the farmers. He said starting from production to marketing, government is emphasizing on every point. Mr. Chaudhary said before 2014, the agriculture budget used to be around 25 to 30,000 crore rupees. He said the budget has been increased to 1,50,000 crore rupees. The minister said 75,000 crore rupees being sent to farmers through direct benefit transfer under Pradhan Mantri Kisan Samman Nidhi.
2022 तक किसान की इनकम डबल करना है। इस दृष्टि से भारत सरकार काम कर रही है और उसमें सबसे बड़ा पहला काम ये हुआ कि किसानों का बजट को बढ़ाया गया। अब ये बजट बढ़ाकर 1.5 लाख करोड़ रुपए कर दिया गया है। इसमें भी 75,000 करोड़ रुपए डायरेक्ट बेनिफिट किसान को मिले, इस नाते किसान सम्मान निधि के तौर पर उनके डायरेक्ट खाते के अंदर 6,000 रुपए के हिसाब से प्रतिवर्ष डाले जा रहे हैं। इसके साथ ही किसानों के लिए 10,000 FPO बनाए जाएंगे। उसमें किसानों को फूड प्रोसेसिंग यूनिट और मार्केटिंग, इसके लिए जो भी इनको पैसों की आवश्यकता होगी उसके लिए भारत सरकार उनके ग्रुप में जो किसान आएंगे, समूह होगा, उन समूहों को प्रोसेसिंग यूनिट के लिए पैसा भी देगी और सब्सिडी भी प्रावधान रखा गया है।
With the mantra of Annadata Sukhi Bhava, the Narendra Modi government is focusing on the dissemination of technology till the last mile and making the farmers more competitive in the global value chain. Agriculture, which contributes 14% to the GDP and employs 55% of the population, has got top priority of the government.
Now, moving on to our special series on development and empowerment of people in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. In Jammu and Kashmir, Market Intervention Scheme, MIS, was launched last year with an objective to provide optimum prices to the apple growers. This scheme was approved by the Department of Agriculture and Cooperation, Ministry of Agriculture, Government of India, under the aegis of Ministry of Home Affairs. The scheme generated awareness among the farming community in Kashmir of their rights and subsequently strengthened them for not getting exploited by the market forces which caused farmers to suffer the losses of the produce. The apple growers in Kashmir have expressed gratitude to the central government, particularly the Union Agriculture Ministry, for launching this initiative in support of farmers of Jammu and Kashmir. Meanwhile, in view of the overwhelming response of the Market Intervention Scheme in Kashmir Valley, it is learned that Jammu and Kashmir government has written to the centre to extend the benefit of the scheme for this year as well, keeping in view the harvesting season of the apple produce. More from our correspondent.
A unique market intervention scheme for apple growers in Kashmir Valley was launched for the first time in the month of September last year, as the government wanted to lay focused attention on providing every possible support to the apple growers in Kashmir, right from their orchards to various markets of the country. This scheme assured them of minimum support price of the apple produce. The apple sector needed a special attention as it has an annual turnover of rupees 8,000 crores and is a direct or indirect source of income to at least 7 lakh families in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. With the launch of the scheme, many issues of the apple growers relating to grading of apple, procurement, storage and marketing was taken care of by the centre as well as by the Union Territory Administration. The apple produce was procured and marketed by the National Agricultural Cooperative Marketing Federation of India Limited, popularly known as NAFED. Through this scheme, the apple growers got more remuneration for various grades of apple and helped them to save their crop from distress sale. Sunil Kohl, AR News from Srinagar.
You are listening to the morning news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Centre asks states and union territories to allow smartphones and tablet devices for hospitalized COVID-19 patients. DCGI gives permission to Serum Institute of India to conduct Phase 2 and 3 human clinical trial of corona vaccine developed by Oxford University. Raksha Bandhan being celebrated across the country today, local Rakis completely replaced Chinese Rakis this year. Monsoon to get active over parts of central and western India from tomorrow. IPL 2020 to be played from September the 19th to November the 10th this year. And BCCI issues SOPs for resuming domestic cricket activities. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts.
Raksha Bandhan, the festival of a special bond between brothers and sisters, is being celebrated today across the country. On this occasion, sisters tie colourful rakis around the wrists of their brothers and pray for their prosperity, health and well-being. In return, brothers pledge to protect and support their sisters and give them gifts. Rakis made by Indian companies and self-help groups have completely replaced Chinese products this year. Shopkeepers and people have totally rejected Chinese Rakis this year, following Prime Minister Narendra Modi's call for Atmanirbhar Bharat and Vocal for Local.
मैं इन दिनों देख रहा हूं कि कई लोग और संस्थाएं इस बार रक्षाबंधन को अलग तरीके से मनाने का अभियान चला रहे हैं। कई लोग इसे वोकल फॉर लोकल से भी जोड़ रहे हैं और बात भी सही है। हमारे पर्व हमारे समाज के, हमारे घर के पास ही किसी व्यक्ति का व्यापार बढ़े, उसका भी पर्व खुशहाल हो, तब पर्व का आनंद कुछ और ही हो जाता है। सभी देशवासियों को रक्षाबंधन की बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं।
In Madhya Pradesh, a special type of Rakhi has been prepared following the Prime Minister's Vocal for Local appeal. Eco-friendly Rakhis have been made from cow dung along with silk, paper and seeds of the plants. A report.
In the Balaghat district of Madhya Pradesh, Rakhis are made from cow dung. Even if it sounds strange, this innovation of the Barasivni Tehsil is very much valued by the people. Bhuvnanand Upvanshi, who designed these Rakhis, told AIR that he was made more than 5,000 Rakhis so far out of 52 varieties.
गोबर की राखी पूर्णतः इको फ्रेंडली है पर्यावरण की दृष्टि से। यह गोबर को सुखाकर उसका पाउडर बनाया जाता है, उसमें बाइंडिंग एजेंट के रूप में ग्वारगम पाउडर मिलाया जाता है। फिर हमने इसमें तुलसी और मदार और सेट्रोनिला ऑयल जिसे गंजनी का तेल कहते हैं उनको भी मिक्स किया है।
Many herbs have also been added to these Rakhis along with cow dung.
अब गांव में रोजगार भी पैदा हो रहा है और आत्मनिर्भरता की ओर हमारा आगे कदम भी बढ़ते जा रहा है।
Collector Deepak R has also appreciated the initiative and assured all possible help.
इसी प्रकार की राखियों का इस्तेमाल इस बार सभी लोग करें और इनके प्रमोशन के लिए हम लोग जरूर कार्य करेंगे।
With Srinivas Chaudhary from Balaghat, Sanjeev Sharma, AIR News, Bhopal.
Chhattisgarh Governor Anusuya Uike has sent Rakhis made by tribal and rural women of the state to the President, Vice President and Prime Minister. A report from our correspondent.
Chhattisgarh Governor Ansuya Uike has sent a unique Rakhi made of cow dung and bamboo to the President, Vice President and Prime Minister on the occasion of Raksha Bandhan festival. These Rakhis have been made by rural women living in tribal areas of Chhattisgarh. The Governor said that the Prime Minister has given a call for Atmanirbhar Bharat. Keeping this in mind, she has sent these special Rakhis to promote local products and self-employment. Meanwhile, in view of the upsurge in COVID-19 cases in the state, the Chhattisgarh government has given permission to inmates in jail to make phone call and video calling to their sisters on the Raksha Bandhan festival today. State Home Minister Tamradhwaj Sahu said that due to corona crisis, unlike every year, when sisters would reach the jails to tie Rakhi to their brothers, this year no one will be allowed to meet in the jail. Vikalp Shukla, AIR News, Raipur.
President Ramnath Kovind, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu and Prime Minister Narendra Modi have greeted the people on the occasion of Raksha Bandhan. The World Sanskrit Day is being celebrated today. All India Radio aired the first ever special program in Sanskrit titled Bhujan Bhasha, Sanskrit Bhasha this morning to mark the occasion. Education Minister Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank, in a special message in Sanskrit, underlined the importance of Sanskrit language.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has hoped for India-Israel friendship to grow even stronger in the times to come. He said this in a tweet in response to Israel President Reuven Rivlin's best wishes to India on the occasion of Friendship Day yesterday. U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo has said that President Donald Trump will take action in the coming days on Chinese apps, including TikTok, citing national security risks. Mr. Pompeo said that Chinese apps like TikTok are an issue for U.S. national security and the privacy of Americans. He said TikTok and other Chinese software companies operating in the U.S., such as WeChat, feed personal data on American citizens directly to the Chinese Communist Party.
2 NASA astronauts have returned to Earth, successfully ending the historic 2-month mission to stay on space station. Astronauts Doug Hurley and Bob Behnken have returned in a dramatic retro-style splashdown, their capsule parachuting into the Gulf of Mexico to close out an unprecedented test flight by Elon Musk's SpaceX company. India Meteorological Department IMD says monsoon will enter an active phase over parts of central and western India from tomorrow, bringing heavy rains over the next 3 to 4 days. It said a low pressure area is likely to develop over North Bay of Bengal and move into Odisha, Chhattisgarh and Madhya Pradesh, and then to central Maharashtra and Gujarat, bringing heavy rainfall. Jharkhand and Gangetic West Bengal may also receive moderate rainfall on Tuesday and Wednesday. A monsoon trough is likely to shift southwards and strengthen during the next 3 to 4 days and lash Goa, coastal Karnataka and Kerala with widespread rainfall. The Weather Department has issued a red warning for coastal Maharashtra and Goa for tomorrow. We spoke to IMD DG M. Mahapatra.
नॉर्थ बे ऑफ बंगाल पे 4 तारीख को एक लो प्रेशर एरिया फॉर्मेशन हो रहा है। इसके प्रभाव में ओडिशा से शुरू करके छत्तीसगढ़, मध्य प्रदेश, गुजरात और महाराष्ट्र में अच्छा बारिश होगा। 4 तारीख से 6 तारीख के बीच ओडिशा, मध्य प्रदेश और छत्तीसगढ़ में सभी जगह बारिश होने के साथ साथ कुछ इलाके में हेवी टू वेरी हेवी रेनफॉल हो सकता है। इस पीरियड में महाराष्ट्र, स्पेशली कोस्टल महाराष्ट्र और साउथ गुजरात रीजन में भी हेवी टू वेरी हेवी रेनफॉल होने का हम उम्मीद कर रहे हैं। ये जो सेंट्रल इंडिया है, जुलाई महीने में अच्छा बारिश नहीं हो रहा था और अभी हम उम्मीद कर रहे हैं कि अच्छा बारिश होगा। ये खेती के लिए लाभदायक होगा।
Now let's take a look at today's weather forecast. The national capital Delhi may have generally cloudy sky with light rain or drizzle. The minimum temperature was recorded as 27 degrees Celsius and maximum will be 38 degrees Celsius. Mumbai will experience a generally cloudy sky with moderate rain. The minimum temperature was 25 degrees Celsius and the maximum temperature will be around 32 degrees. Chennai will have a generally cloudy sky with light rain or drizzle. The temperature will hover between 29 and 37 degrees Celsius. Kolkata will have partly cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. The minimum temperature in the metropolis was 28 degrees Celsius while the maximum will be 34 degrees. To the north, in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, the minimum temperature in Jammu was 24 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be around 33 degrees Celsius. The city will have a partly cloudy sky, with possibility of rain or thunderstorm or dust storm. In Srinagar, the minimum temperature was 18 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be 32 degrees Celsius. The city will have mainly clear skies becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. Ladakh will have mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. The temperature will hover between 20 and 30 degrees Celsius. In Gilgit, the temperature will hover between 17 and 34 degrees Celsius. You'll experience mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. In Muzaffarabad, there will be partly cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. The minimum temperature was 22 degrees Celsius, while the maximum temperature will be around 36 degrees.
Chandigarh will have a generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. The minimum temperature in the city will be 27 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be around 36 degrees. In Dehradun, the temperature will hover between 24 and 33 degrees Celsius. The city will have a generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. In Hyderabad, the minimum temperature was 23 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be around 33 degrees Celsius. It will have a generally cloudy sky with light rain. Partly cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers is expected in Bhopal. The minimum temperature in the city was 25 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be around 34 degrees Celsius. Guwahati will have a partly cloudy sky. The minimum temperature in the city was 27 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be around 37 degrees Celsius. IPL 2020 will be played from September 19 to November 10 this year. The decision to this effect was taken at a virtual meeting of IPL Governing Council last night. The meeting was organized to give a final shape to the schedule and discuss other arrangements for the eagerly awaited event to be held in the UAE this year. Taking note of the prevailing COVID-19 situation in India, the IPL Governing Council decided to stage the tournament in UAE, and the matches will be played in Dubai, Sharjah and Abu Dhabi, subject to necessary clearances from the Government of India. The finals will be played on 10th November this year. The 53-day tournament will witness 10 afternoon matches starting at 3:30 p.m. Indian time, while the evening matches will start at 7:30 p.m. The Governing Council also discussed the comprehensive standard operating procedures, SOPs, which will be finalized and published in due course, including the agencies to execute and deliver a biosecure environment for safe and successful conduct of IPL 2020 season. The Governing Council also reviewed the player regulations for replacement player for 2020 season. Women's T20 Challenge will also take place in the UAE and will comprise 3 teams with 4 matches to be played during the IPL playoff week. Meanwhile, Indian cricketers including ODI captain Mithali Raj has welcomed BCCI President Sourav Ganguly's announcement that the women's IPL will take place during the men's league in the UAE. While it is expected that most of the franchisees will send their recce teams to the UAE to check out their facilities as well as the biosecure environment that can be created, there are concerns that remain, including accommodation plan and catering services.
Board of Control for Cricket in India, BCCI, has issued SOPs to all state associations for resuming domestic cricket activities. BCCI issued the standard operating procedure with the clarification that training will only resume subject to getting approval from the local administration. According to the BCCI guidelines, the players will have to sign a form acknowledging the risks involved with training resumption amid the COVID-19 pandemic. Support staff, officials and ground staff over 60 years of age and with individuals with underlying medical conditions are barred from attending training camps until suitable guidelines are issued by the government as per the SOP.
And now an overview of today's newspapers. Home Minister Amit Shah testing positive and admitted to hospital in Gurgaon is the top story in most dailies today. Silver lining as COVID-19 recovery see big spike headlines in the Hindustan Times. The Times of India headline reads, COVID's deadliest week, 3.7 lakh cases, 5,345 deaths. UP's sole woman cabinet minister, Kamal Rani Varun, dies of COVID is the headline in the Pioneer. Quarantine rules ease for inbound international travellers from 8th of August, reports The Hindu. 5th round of talks held amid stalemate in Pangong Tso, writes the Indian Express. Army stocking up for winter, ready for long standoff, reports the Asian Age. A story in the Hindu reveals that Pakistani handles were behind Chinese info war on border standoff. Monsoon set to strengthen after weak July rains, writes the Hindustan Times. The Bihar police team, which is in Mumbai, is to investigate the death of Sushant Singh Rajput, will also probe the alleged suicide of his former manager, reports the Statesman. And finally, the first non-white person's image on a British coin could be Gandhi's, reports the Hindustan Times.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Centre asks states and union territories to allow smartphones and tablet devices for hospitalized COVID-19 patients. DCGI gives permission to Serum Institute of India to conduct Phase 2 and 3 human clinical trials of coronavirus vaccine developed by Oxford University. Raksha Bandhan being celebrated across the country today, local Rakhis completely replace Rakhis from China this year. Monsoon to get active over parts of central and western India from tomorrow. IPL 2020 to be played from September the 19th to November the 10th this year. And BCCI issues SOPs for resuming domestic cricket activities. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.